Hey everybody, it's Brian again. Today I wanted to talk about the this keyword. In order to illustrate that and some of the confusion that can come with it first time you start using it, I thought I would kind of come up with a simple example of an object class called dog. So let's keep track of a couple of things that a dog might have. Of course, a dog might have a name. A dog might have, let's say, an age. And let's do one more thing. How about let's do just those two for now, just to keep it simple. So, as we know, in order to instantiate an object, Java needs a constructor. Now, if you don't give Java a constructor, remember, it will go ahead and create the default constructor, which won't do anything as far as assigning these guys a value. So, most interesting classes have constructors. And so the way we name a constructor, as you may remember, is we just say public, of course, if you want it to be accessed from outside the package. Public dog, it has to match exactly the name of the class. Okay, so public dog, no static, no nothing else. So this is a method, a special method called a constructor. And it has the same old method body, but as parameters, let's take in, when we create the dog, let's take in a string that we'll call the dog's name, and we'll take in an int called the dog's age. So when we go create a dog, we're going to pass in a name and we're going to pass in an age. So we'll fill this out in a second. Fill this out soon. Over here, let's go make a dog now. Okay, so let's call, we're going to say a dog named Sparky equals a new dog. And then remember, when we're going to use this constructor, we need to pass in a name. Sparky will be 173 years old. He's a very special dog. So this is how we create a dog named Sparky, 173. Remember, if you see this yellow underline, that's not an error. It's more like Java's saying, like, did you mean to use this thing? Because you never used it. It's just like sitting there wasting memory. So don't worry about the yellow stuff too much. So if we do this, right, if we just leave this like this and we try to say something about the dog, we ask Sparky's, let's print out his age. So Sparky's age is, all right, and we'll print out Sparky's age. Sparky dot age. See, and it's ready for it. It's like it knew what we wanted to do. So let's run this bad boy, and we get we get 0. Okay, well, here's why. So when we made this constructor, we passed in these parameters: a string that was going to be the name, or was intended to be the name, and an integer that was supposed to be the dog's age. But look what the method did with those. Absolutely nothing, right? So what we need to do is remember these variables belong to a specific instance of a dog, and we need to actually set them. When we create the dog, we need to say, hey, I want this name, the dog's name, to be the name that I passed in. And now if you notice, there's a difference between these two variables, right? This is blue, right? It belongs to a particular dog. This one is kind of brownish, and as you can see, it's another variable. Even though they share the same name, this variable has a localized scope inside the constructor. This has an object scope. It belongs to the whole object. So when I write the word name here, look what color comes up. Well, it doesn't come up here. It's going to be this one. If we hover over it, it's saying, when you say this, when you use the word, the variable name, I think it's this one, the localized one from the constructor. So how do I get to talk about that one out there? Well, you want to say the word this, okay? So when we say this, we're talking about this particular dog that I'm making. Notice how that changed. Now that we say this dot name, it assumes that you mean this dog's name, which exists out here. And we want to set that value to be the name from in here. Now look when I hover over this one, right? This is the same as this one. So this dog's name, I'm referring to the object scope variable name. This name in here is just a localized variable scope. So that's how you kind of get around the localized scope when you use the word name, is by using the word this, okay? And then we're going to say this dot age, which exists out here. We want this age to be set to the age that we pass in, right? And we just have to use the word age. Now let's go ask Sparky. So if we save, let's save everybody. And now let's see if Sparky's age is coming out to be right. Yes, it is. Okay, so there's a, some people really don't really dig this way of using constructors, right? So some people will do something like this. They'll name this variable different than that name so that they don't run into this confusion. So let's just cut this out, and I'll show you another way you can do this. Let's call this name choice and age choice. This makes it a little bit more clear. Some people decide to do this. There's different conventional schools of thought on how to like name these variables and constructors, but let's do this now. Now when I write the word name, it's so clear which one I'm talking about, right? Obviously, I'm talking about this one, right? So when I hover over it, it's obvious that it's going to be this one, but there's no confusion there because there's no sort of name duplicity there. I want to set this equal to name choice, and it'll assume, right? That's more clear. The name of this dog, which is here, is going to be the name choice that was passed in, and the age of the dog I would like to create as the age choice that was passed in. Oops, tried to use a shortcut, made it into a long cut. That's another way to get around it, but you're going to see a lot of code. What's wrong with this? What's your problem? Okay, there is no token there, but whatever, dude. Okay, so you're going to see a lot of this dot name. I'm going to go back to it one more time just to show you. And this dot age. That is a very regular, normal thing to do. You're going to see a lot of that in Java programs that you look at from more professional coders, people that actually know what they're doing, that have built some really legit stuff. This is very typical, okay? A very normal thing to do inside of a constructor. Just to kind of clear that up for you guys, this dot name refers to object scope variables, which are defined up here. Regular old variable names, it'll assume that you mean the most local version of it, which is the parameter, okay? So, just, one more little thing here in case this is really bugging you right now. We can make these private. This is a little bonus. And now these object variables are only visible to the dog class in that particular example. So if we go back here and try to do this, now look, it's invisible. I can't see it. Right? When I ask for Sparky's age, you made it private. I don't know what it is. Right? And there are ways around that as well. Just as a little bonus lesson here, since we have the time in the video, it's very common to write different methods that are public that will return. So let's say a public string, get name, for example. Right? You could ask for the name, and it will return. Now, can you guess what we're going to return? We want to return this dog's name, right? This particular dog's name, this dot name, right? Now that would work, and then we can make another getter for public int get age, and we can return this dot age. This is another coding convention that kind of is called that it's referred to as encapsulation. It makes sure that these variables can't really be like altered, right, from the outside. I only have the ability to view them, right? So let's go back here and see if we can use this. So if I want to get the age of this dog, get Sparky's age, I would have to actually call that method get age here, and that would hopefully get me the age here, unless I have made an error, and I haven't. So there you go. So that's one way to kind of protect those variables. Kind of rambling on a little bit here, but let's just show you one last little bit of why that might be important. If we didn't have these and we made these public, look what I could do to Sparky over here, right? It's from somewhere outside in the program, right? I know that I made Sparky 173 years old, but what if I could do this, Sparky.age? How about this? Now you're 200. Now you're 200, right? So it seems like it's a little bit like it's a little bit too public. You know what I mean? Like Sparky's age should not be so public that it can be changed from outside the class. So it's a better idea to make these private. Do it one last time, and then we'll cut the video. Better to make these private so that they can't actually be changed unless you really want them